Boy, that verdict coming in just, what, I'd say less than a half hour ago, and that verdict was guilty, which means that this young man, now 23 years old, and Letitia, let me bring you right in next to me.
Sure.
The other member of the bench is with us, and Rowan is working hard. I think right now he is covering a press conference that is about to begin with District Attorney Kim Ogg.
Correct.
To get to the crux of the matter at this half hour, that is the guilty verdict in the 2016 deaths of AJ Armstrong's parents.
Correct.
Shooting deaths that for the last 7 years they've been trying to sort out the justice in it, and apparently that arrived today. Are you surprised by this verdict?
I am a little surprised in regards to them reaching this verdict so quickly. There was evidence, I think, that was presented this time in a fashion that it was not presented previously.
Expand a little bit right there. I'm going to
Okay.
pin you down. So what did they do differently this time around?
I think this time you could tell they were way more intentional in the things that they were presenting to this particular juror, specifically in regards to
That is a witness's baby, not related to this case, I understand. Has been in and out. There's other business going on the 19th floor of the Harris County Criminal Justice Center this afternoon, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yes, so I think one of the demonstrations that I think really resonated with the jury, and if you were inside of the courtroom, you could see that, the staircase, and how they positioned AJ and what it was like and what he would have seen. It kind of made things kind of not plausible in terms of that fashion. And I think in this time when they talked about and they specified a lot about the normal 16-year-old, and when Ryan Trask was speaking about that, and I talked about that a little bit yesterday, the jurors' reaction to what Ryan Trask was saying was pretty powerful.
You saw that? You
saw
that, yeah.
I saw that. And when he was saying a normal 16-year-old wouldn't set the house on fire, normal 16-year-old wouldn't research car bomb detonations, and then a normal 16-year-old wouldn't shoot through the floor, those jurors really perked up to that type of evidence, and you could tell that that was resonating with them. Another time that John Jordan made a point, one of the jurors actually pointed at John Jordan and was like, yes, I get that, and that was in the early part of the trial. So you can tell this time, this particular jury really reacted favorably to the evidence the state was presenting.
They asked, I remember yesterday when one of those bells rung, they wanted to hear some of the evidence, and that would mean either the 911 call or the interrogation/interview with AJ, right?
Right. So remember, even though AJ did not testify in the particular trial, one could say he actually did testify, and he testified by way of the interview that he gave that was recorded, as well as the 911 tape. So those jurors specifically not just asked for those tapes, they asked for speakers, which meant that they wanted to hear the tone of his voice, the reflection in his voice. How did he appear when he was giving these statements to the police as well as to the 911 operators? That means they were paying really close attention to what he was saying. And the prosecution harped on that a lot, if you remember. They harped on, well, he did not say there was an assailant in the 911 tape, but he did during the interview. Then you couple that with the staircase, right? And they're saying there's no way he could have done that. Look, we're bringing the staircase to you. There's no way it could have happened that way. So I think bringing that together this time, like they did not do in the previous trials, resonated with this particular jury.
Very good insight. I wonder if the alarm records played a different way than they did in the first two trials.
I think the alarm records in this trial
would show that nobody left the house. It was sealed up when they went to bed, and it doesn't look like there was any sort of intruder. That's the point there.
I think this time, though, the way that Ryan Trask married the actual alarm records with the text messages played a huge role here.
He sort of established a working timeline of those minutes that way.
He did in the actions of the phone, right? In terms of it was dead for this amount of time, and when the phone lit up, meaning it was unplugged from the actual power surge, that is when the motion detector went on the second floor. Right. And then a certain amount later, he calls and says, oh, my parents have been, I hear gunshots. So I think the way that they packaged the evidence and put it before the jury this time was a little hard for this jury to get over.
And so it means for AJ Armstrong, the next 40 years in prison, and then the possibility of parole after that.
The possibility of parole after 40 years years, which means when he's 63 years old.
Wow, that is a long time. There's no doubt about that. Rick DeToto on the other end of the 19th floor hallway just gave a press conference, I understand, and one of the things he said is, we're not quite done yet. What other things can you do as a defense attorney once your client has been convicted?
Well, the good part about our system is that you always have a right to appeal. And so as long as a notice is given within 14 days, he can appeal that verdict. And what that is basically a higher court will grade everyone's paper, the lawyer's paper and particularly the judge's paper, whether or not the evidence that was admitted in should have been let in according to our laws. So when Rick DeToto says it's not over yet, what he's saying is we're still fighting. We're still looking for the wrong that has been done in this case, and we're going to bring it before to a higher court and let them make that decision.
And we fully expect that to happen, that there will be an appeal?
Rick DeToto made that very clear.
Yeah, I think so. And this is the result so far after 7 years. That's the crime was committed back in July of 2016. I don't have communication right now with the station. That's having a little technical problem there. So we're going to send it back to you. But I want, before we do that, I wanted to talk about the federal lawsuit really quickly. We're going to get right back to them. But yesterday, they filed a federal lawsuit on behalf of AJ Armstrong, alleging some pretty serious stuff. City of Houston, particularly HPD. The allegation is that they planted evidence in this case.
That is correct. They filed a lawsuit just on yesterday stating that AJ Armstrong's constitutional due process rights, as well as his rights, and we call that a 1983 claim, meaning his civil rights, were all violated as a result of this evidence being planted.
This is a completely separate court action, correct?
It's a federal action, a federal civil action, which is different than, of course, state court or criminal court. So in this instance, instead of the state bringing the lawsuit, so to speak, now A.J. Armstrong is bringing the lawsuit.
And he has the very same rights as somebody who would not be serving a prison sentence in terms of being able to address the court and move forward with the lawsuit?
Oh, absolutely. The one good thing about our country is no matter where you are, in prison or out of prison, you still have a right to be treated as a human being. And if you feel someone has violated your rights in any way, you will have a right to file a lawsuit. Now, the difference is most states and cities are sovereign, meaning you just can't sue them for any reason. It can only be for egregious conduct. So the conduct would have to be deemed egregious before it even gets to go any further.
Understood. Letitia, thanks very much. We're gearing up for a full big version of our bench show coming up at 6 o'clock. For now, we're going to sign off from downtown Houston. Let's send it back to you guys.